Good morning. Today we are going to look at the elements of art, or the visual language as we call it at Pendray High School. This is the art telephone number that we use. Many of you in Year 7 will be familiar with this already. Some of you will actually enjoy this little activity as a sort of recap, as a refresher. And for those of you joining us in Year 7, this is the very first thing you will do, because this gives you the basics, the elements of art that will send you on your way to making more complex drawings and paintings and sculptures. The art telephone number is how we remember the visual language. So 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. So we've got 4 line, 4 tone, 5 shape, 6 color, 7 pattern, 7 texture. The choice of number is determined by the number of letters in the word. That's why we've come up with this little telephone number, and it's a good little trick just to help you remember all these things. On this piece of work here, you've got 2 pieces of A4 paper that have been glued together on one little edge, and these bits have been sliced so that when I look at line, I can turn this over. I have my examples of line, I have a description of line, and I have and I have words, descriptive words for line. Having this around can be exceptionally handy when you are not only making art, but you're looking at art. So for instance, if I've been asked to look at the work of Henri Matisse, colour immediately jumps out to me. Let's say we choose a painting. So let's say I've been asked to look at this painting and to describe the colour in the painting. If my brain is sort of freezing up and I can't remember, I can turn colour, I have examples of colour, I have a little description of colour, but more importantly for this little exercise, if I'm asked to describe the colour in the Matisse painting, I have descriptive words here. So quite simply, the red in this painting is intense, it's primary. The green complements the red, and so on and so on. To make this little visual language inspired piece of work here, as I say, you will need 2 pieces of A4 paper, or if you're able, on our Pendray High School Facebook page, in the distance learning album, you have the template on there, and I'll try and post a link to this template underneath this video. Again, it's such a simple template, you can quite easily make this yourself and customize it yourself. So we start with this one first. I'll bring it closer to the camera so you can see that it's got very faint lettering on to help us with that later. The very first thing I'm going to do is take my ruler. Now if you don't have a ruler in the house, maybe a book, anything with a straight edge, straight hard edge that we can use to bend this over. So I'm bending it against the ruler so I have that nice crisp fold on that piece of the sheet. I'm going to put them to one side. On the second sheet, glue here. Couldn't be more straightforward as an instruction. So top to bottom, glue, 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 and I'm stopping when I get to the edge of this line here. This gets glued to this, preferably as tight and near that edge as possible. Done. And if you're like me, it'll probably end up with little folds in it, because you're not very tidy. But we can make that work as part of the piece. So what should happen now, this opens up as a little booklet. Excellent. I'm going to put a deeper fold there now, so you have this working for you. Scissors. I'm cutting along these lines here, and I'm stopping when I get to that fold. So, what you should have is a very plain version of this. So, as I say, these open up to reveal examples and descriptions of each part, each element of art, each element of the visual language. This is what we have here, just without the bits filled in. Now, to make this stand out on the camera here, I'm going to do mine in Sharpie, but obviously if you do that, it's going to look a bit boring. So try and use a variety of materials to decorate this. If you have managed to, excuse me, if you have managed to get this template off the internet, off our distance learning album, then you will have a layout of letters to customize. So if I get very neat and tight to this, it'll be fine, but it won't have a lot of my personality in it. And what we're looking for is that you make these personal to you. Now I'm working, as I say, in fine liner just to make it stand out on the camera. I would suggest you get in there with a pencil first and decide with the pencil what bits you're keeping, what bits you're changing. I think I'm going to make a much bigger F on there, but you decide. And there's a very little E at the start of this. As I want to make my heading on the sheet much larger, I've increased the size of the lettering, so I've got elements of art going across there. I won't fill it all in because you get the general idea. Now if I work in a fine liner straight on top of this, it's definitely going to go through onto this side. Yeah, so let's have a little scrap piece of paper. And we'll whack that in just while I'm working on this bit. Now you'll notice on the other sheet I decorated outline first, but I'm going to keep it a little more simple on the demo. So big chunky letters. Yeah, and I use cross hatching to decorate the background. Inside, you can see that went through straight away. Inside I have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes here to fill. So if I open this up, you can see on my finished piece here, we had a cross hatching example. You have examples of horizontal lines, squiggly lines, and diagonal lines. Here, again, if you do use a permanent marker, it is going to go through onto this side. If you're lucky and you've got some more spare paper, you can cut and glue across there and stick another piece on to write your description in. So that is why I would suggest you do everything in pencil first. Everything in coloured pencil probably would be better, and that way you've got no issues with things going through onto other sides. You can see actually on the finished piece here where the description of colour has come through onto this side because I wrote it in fine liner. Now the permanent marker is handy for describing on here because it shows up better on the camera. But again, I would work with fine line pens, I'd work with coloured pencils to do this, maybe a little watercolour paint, whatever really you have around the house. So this template is available on our distance learning website, or page rather, on the Facebook, and I'll try and put the link below. This is the final thing here when it's completed, but this is just my version. You personalize yours to make it memorable for you. Good luck, and please send in your work and I'll post them up online and show them off. Thank you very much.